The air crackled with anticipation. The crowd was a living, breathing entity, each person a cell in a larger organism, all waiting for something monumental to happen. It was July 13th, 2024, a date that would be etched into the annals of history, a day that held the promise of change. The political rally buzzed with a nervous energy. People from all walks of life had gathered, united by a common hope, yet divided by their own personal fears and uncertainties.
I stood amidst the throng, feeling both a part of and apart from the crowd. A young man lost in the sea of faces, each one a stranger, yet each one a potential ally or adversary. I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders, a burden that seemed to grow heavier with each passing moment. The pressure of expectations I struggled to meet, the fear of failure looming large in my mind. My life felt like a tangled mess of bad decisions and missed opportunities. Each mistake, a knot in the fabric of my existence. Each mischance, a tear in the tapestry of my dreams.
Thomas was at a crossroads, a pivotal moment in his life where the choices he made would shape his future. He could continue down the path he was on, a path shrouded in darkness and uncertainty, a road that seemed to lead nowhere, yet beckoned him with the familiarity of routine. A path where each step was a struggle, each decision a gamble with unknown odds. Or he could choose a different way, a path illuminated by hope and the promise of redemption. A road less traveled, but one that held the potential for a brighter future. A path where the light at the end of the tunnel was not just a distant dream, but a tangible reality within his grasp. The decision gnawed at him, a constant battle within his soul. Each option weighed heavily on his mind, each choice a potential turning point. A war raged within him, a clash between fear and hope, between the comfort of the known and the allure of the unknown.
As the crowd roared, a figure on the stage caught my eye. Amidst the sea of faces, one stood out, drawing my attention like a magnet. It wasn't the politician, though. It was someone else, someone who seemed out of place yet perfectly at home in the chaos. It was a man standing near the fringes, his presence both commanding and enigmatic, his presence radiating an otherworldly aura, as if he belonged to a different realm altogether. Our eyes met, and in that instant the world seemed to shift. Time stood still, and everything else faded into the background.
Thomas felt a jolt, a surge of recognition. It was as if a hidden part of his mind had suddenly awakened. He couldn't explain it, but he knew this man. A sense of familiarity washed over him, a feeling that transcended logic and reason. He had seen him before, in comic books, in movies, in the stories that had shaped his childhood and fueled his imagination. In the depths of his imagination, this man had always been a symbol of hope and possibility. It was Dr. Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. A character who had always represented the extraordinary, the magical, the impossible. But that was impossible, wasn't it? How could a fictional character be standing here in the flesh at a political rally? The lines between reality and fantasy blurred, leaving Thomas questioning everything he thought he knew. Thomas had always been drawn to the world of computers. From a young age he found solace in the glow of the monitor, the soft light illuminating his face in the otherwise dark room. The computer was more than just a machine to him. It was a portal to endless possibilities, a gateway to a world where he could be anyone and do anything. The hum of the processor was a comforting symphony, a steady rhythm that calmed his restless mind. The internet became his playground, a vast and intricate labyrinth he could explore from the confines of his room. Each click, each keystroke, was a step deeper into a world that felt both infinite and intimate. He would spend hours navigating through websites, forums, and chat rooms, absorbing information and connecting with people from all corners of the globe. It was a place where he could lose himself, where the boundaries of reality seemed to blur, and where he felt a sense of belonging that eluded him in the physical world.
I devoured information, soaking up knowledge like a sponge. I learned to code, to build, to manipulate the digital realm. My skills grew, and with them, a sense of power, a feeling of control in a world where I often felt powerless. Coding became my language, my way of expressing myself, and my tool for shaping the world around me.
Thomas stumbled upon stories of Guddu, a legendary hacker known for his exploits against powerful corporations and corrupt officials. Guddu became his idol, a symbol of rebellion against injustice. The tales of Guddu's daring hacks and his fight against corruption resonated deeply with Thomas, igniting a spark of hope and ambition within him.
I saw in Guddu a reflection of my own desire to fight back, to make a difference. but my life was far removed from the glamorous world of cybercrime. I struggled to reconcile my online persona with the realities of my everyday life. I felt trapped, suffocating under the weight of my own potential. The more I learned, the more I realized how much power I had at my fingertips, and yet, I was still just a kid in a small room, dreaming of making a big impact.
The encounter at the rally, a bustling event filled with passionate voices and determined faces, the impossible sight of Dr. Strange, a figure of magic and mystery amidst the chaos, shook him to his core. It was a sign, he thought, a message from the universe. Maybe there was another way, a path he hadn't considered. As he stood there, surrounded by the energy of the crowd, he felt a shift within himself. Perhaps his journey wasn't just about hacking and rebellion. Maybe, just maybe, it was about finding a balance, about using his skills for something greater than himself. The rally, the sight of Dr. Strange, and the collective hope of the people around him planted a seed of possibility in his mind. It was a moment of clarity, a realization that his path was not set in stone, and that he had the power to choose his own destiny. The image of Dr. Strange lingered in Thomas's mind. The man's gaze, filled with wisdom and a hint of sadness, seemed to pierce through him, exposing his deepest fears and aspirations.
The impossible encounter ignited a spark within me, a flicker of hope in the darkness. I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was meant for something more. The world of hacking, of online anonymity, suddenly felt small and insignificant. I yearned for a connection, a purpose beyond the digital realm.
Thomas began to research Dr. Strange, delving into the world of mysticism and magic. He devoured comic books, watched movies, and scoured the internet for any information he could find. The more he learned, the more intrigued he became.
I was particularly drawn to Dr. Strange's journey of redemption. Once a brilliant but arrogant surgeon, Strange had lost everything and found a new purpose as a protector of the universe. His story resonated with me, offering a glimmer of hope that even I could change my path.
The encounter at the rally, as improbable as it seemed, became a turning point in Thomas's life. It was a wake-up call, a cosmic nudge urging him to embrace his potential for good. The days following the rally were a blur of introspection for Thomas. He found himself replaying the events over and over in his mind, each time uncovering new layers of meaning and emotion. The energy of the crowd, the fervor of the speeches, and the collective call for change had left an indelible mark on his soul. He wrestled with his thoughts, trying to make sense of the whirlwind of emotions that had been stirred within him. It was as if a door had been opened, revealing a world he had long ignored. Questioning everything he thought he knew about himself and his place in the world. The rally had been a catalyst, forcing him to confront the uncomfortable truths he had buried deep within.
I realized I had been living in the shadows, not just physically but emotionally and mentally. I had built walls around myself, walls that kept me safe but also isolated. Hiding behind a facade of anonymity and apathy, my online persona had become a mask, a way to avoid facing the reality of my own potential and responsibilities. The memory of Dr. Strange's gaze haunted me, a constant reminder of the potential I held within. It was as if he could see through my defenses, recognizing the power I had yet to harness. A constant reminder of the potential I held within. I knew that I could no longer ignore the call to action that had been growing louder with each passing day. I knew I could no longer ignore the call to action, the urge to use my skills for something bigger than myself. The time had come to step out of the shadows and into the light. The urge to use my skills for something bigger than myself. I made a decision. It was a decision that would change the course of my life, a commitment to a new path.
He would turn away from the darkness that had threatened to consume him. The shadows that had once been his refuge now felt like a prison, and he was ready to break free. He would embrace the light, however faint it seemed. The journey ahead was uncertain, but the promise of a brighter future gave him the strength to move forward. He would dedicate his life to making a difference, to using his talents and skills to create positive change in the world. It was a mission that filled him with a sense of purpose he had never known before, to fighting for a better world. The rally had shown him that he was not alone, that there were others who shared his vision and passion.
My first step was to distance myself from the online world that had once been my refuge. It was a difficult decision, but I knew it was necessary to fully commit to my new path. I deleted my anonymous profiles, The digital masks that had allowed me to hide from the world. It was a symbolic act, a way to shed my old identity and embrace the new. Severed ties with my online acquaintances, many of whom I had never met in person. It was a clean break, a way to start fresh without the baggage of my past, and vowed to use my skills for good. I realized that my talents could be a force for positive change, that I could make a real difference in the world. I realized true power lay not in manipulating code, but in empowering people. It was a revelation that changed my perspective, showing me the true potential of my abilities.
This marked the beginning of Thomas's transformation. It was a journey of self-discovery and growth, a path that would lead him to places he had never imagined. He was no longer content with being a passive observer in the theater of life. The world was full of opportunities and challenges, and he was ready to face them head-on. He was ready to step onto the stage and play his part. With a newfound sense of purpose and determination, Thomas embraced his role in the unfolding story of change and progress.